Okay, so let me just introduce myself. My name is Neo, N-E-O. I think some of the printing notes is actually, Teck is T-E-C-K, not T-E-C-H. Right. So anyway, I'm from Huawei. So a little bit about myself is I'm covering the South Pacific in Huawei, all right, talking about cloud solutions. I've been working with StarHub for the last 3 years in building a public cloud. The cloud is now on. So if you are interested to look at some of the cloud solutions, you can come to our level 1 booth downstairs. Right, we have the entire self-service portal cloud solution to share with you. All right, it's almost similar to Amazon now. Of course, you know, when you compare the feature-wise, we are talking about essential features are all there. All right. So today my topic is on identifying the real barriers and solution to implement private and hybrid cloud. Okay. So a little bit of the trends on the cloud marketplace. Public cloud market, if you look at it from 2010 all the way to, never mind. Sorry, excuse me. So when you look at the market trends from all the way from 2010 to 2016, we are looking at a consistent growth rate of almost 18% year on year. Okay, so if you really look at the cloud market, it is still quite vibrant. Every year we are still increasing. We are still seeing business there, right? When I do a research recently in Singapore market, we are seeing quite a lot of companies who are setting start shifting the data center here in Singapore. Is really to look at some of this business growth in this region in Asia. All right, so let me just highlight the next slide showing what is hybrid cloud. It's actually the next wave, right? If you look at Gartner's private and public and hybrid cloud survey, 70% of the people feedback that they are going to pursue a private cloud strategy by the year 2015. Okay, so really this actually, when you rely on some of the market researcher information and statistics, not only just Gartner, we have seeing some other researcher, they are also consistently showing some of this feedback and these results. Okay, so when you talk about the barriers and solution, let's look at it, right? Now, why hybrid cloud? Okay, I think all of you knows about what is private cloud, what is public cloud, right? Public cloud is something that, you allow connectivity from the internet, and private cloud is something that you set at the back end, right? This is more focused by the enterprise, and this is actually more for the public internet users. Now, when you look at some of the advantage, right? For private cloud, basically the control and security advantage, it allows you to customize the cloud to meet the internal requirements, and then it's fully controlled by the company. So for company like banks, large enterprise, they wanted some better control in terms of assets, in terms of have a better control in terms of service disruption. They go for more the private cloud implementation. Now for public cloud, I think you know about AWS, right? OPEX based, pay as you go. You can sign on. You don't like it, you can just unsubscribe, and then you just do a pay per use, pay as you go, and it has got a lot of self-service functions built in there. So typically for public cloud, it's more like self-service function. You need to understand what is in there. You need to make most of the effort yourself. There's no call help desk that you can call, right? You just based on the forum to support you. And of course, today we are talking about hybrid cloud. Basically, this one helps us to address taking the advantage of private cloud and public cloud, allow us to do some kind of cloud bursting. All right, so how you do that? Basically, for company who are enterprise, they want to have the security. At the same time, they want to have the pay-you model, to have the reduction in terms of OPEX. They can actually get a combination of both, implementing something called a hybrid cloud. So that they can address things like, for example, in the control and advantage, they can say that my company's data is the most important. I keep the database in-house. I put in a private cloud. And then for the webs and the apps tier, what I can do is I can design the application architecture in such a way that they allow me to scale. From private cloud, if I don't have enough workload, I allow the web and the apps application tier to scale out to the public cloud. All right. So that is actually generally what the industry is actually looking at, because as public cloud infrastructure is getting more matured, and as some of the big brands like IBM, Microsoft, they are rolling out more and more of this hybrid cloud technology, it makes all this hybrid cloud implementation possible. Now, one of these slides I want to explain also to share with all of you is the security aspects of cloud. Now, when we talk about moving from physical box, traditional data center into cloud, what is important? First of all, data security, right? I think this is one of the biggest concerns that everybody, you have been the concern since the beginnings of cloud, right? You put the data into the public cloud, where's the data stored? That is one of the biggest concerns. So when you want to do a cloud, whether it's a private cloud, hybrid cloud, or you have to consider like, is my data secure? Okay? Access control. When you put your data, you put your VM, you put your application onto a public cloud, okay? It is all multi-tenanted. Okay, so the other concern is, other than you yourself accessing your data, who else accessing your data? It all depends on the cloud service provider, right? So there is actually a trust concern here in terms of access control. How much the service provider is able to help you to protect your data. Well, that is actually another aspect of the security you need to consider. And of course, the other one is asset ownership. So things like, if I keep everything in my back end, I own the hardware, I own the software, I don't have any problems, right? I want to change it, I want to do a tech refresh, okay? I want to upgrade. It is all possible because you have the full ownership, you have the full control. When you move into a public cloud, then you have to decide, all right, if the public cloud service provider is not doing well, I want to migrate out the portability of the VM, how easy for you to move out. These are all the consideration, is another aspect that you have to look at. Service disruption, all right? Public cloud sometimes do fail, right? Like Amazon, right? They give you very high SLA, but sometimes it fail, right? When it fail, do you have the option? Can your business afford that kind of disruption? If not, then what is the alternative? You want to have OPEX savings, right? You want to have cost savings, but at the same time, we have to look at how to mitigate the risk of having this kind of service disruption. Security experts, right? This one, I look at it, is more like, if you have a very strong internal security team, right, then you can definitely put some of your cloud as a private cloud internal. But a lot of time, you realize that security, most of the time, cloud service provider will employ better what I call security experts. And in fact, they can help you to better manage the security aspect of things. I give you an example, like in startup case, when we actually launched the public cloud, it is not so much on the operation issue day-to-day, like I have the customer, okay, to provide or to service their request. It is actually more the kind of DDoS attack, all those kind of intrusion coming from the internet, attacking your machines, attacking your services that you deploy on your cloud. So we have to have a security team that constantly look after the entire machine. So today we have worked out with the network team, we have this clean pipe, so whenever there's an attack coming in, within 5 minutes we can actually get the problem settled. So this is talking about expertise, about how fast you can respond to tackle the issues. So typically we look at cloud service provider can do a better job than your internal team. But of course, it all depends on your assessment. If you have a strong internal team, then that may be better, right? But if you're not, then I would say that the cloud service provider may be able to do a better job on that. And the other one is the compliance, okay? When you evaluate a cloud service provider, when you talk about security, right, ISO 27000, right, it's one of the key security standards. So if the cloud service provider can attend to the standard, then it is actually a trusted cloud, right? That today, if you look at Singapore, IDA, Infocom Development Authority of Singapore, is actually promoting something at a higher level now. They call it multi-tier cloud security, MTCS. I don't know how many of you have heard about that. It's basically another tier of security on top of ISO 27000. And for any one of us going to work with the government to provide the cloud, the virtualization, you need to be MTCS compliant, okay? And there's quite a lot of this industry engagement with IDA now talking about how to do that kind of certifications, okay? All right, so this compliance certification come hand in hand, right? ISO 27000, MTCS, these are the standard. I don't know about other countries, but in Singapore, these are the must if you're going to do a business with the government, okay? So these are all the security aspect of cloud, whether you want to do public, private, or hybrid. And specifically when you zoom into the hybrid cloud, because it takes advantage of the public and the private clouds, right? Implication of implementing hybrid cloud, I classify them into about 5 major items. First one, compliance, as what I just now said, complying with company security policies. First move, when you want to implement hybrid cloud, the first department you most likely have to clear is the security, internal security team. Because security is always looking at like, everything must be protected, must be closed. You know, if you put the data across to the public cloud, you're exposing the company data. And whether the security team internally is able to give you that kind of approval and go ahead, right? Next one is the complexity. When you choose a hybrid cloud, you need to burst, right, from internal to external. Now, you'll be more complex in terms of application architecture. For example, you know, if let's say internally you're using VMware, and you want to burst into AWS, one is VMware hypervisor, the other one is probably on Zen, open source, right? So the architecture design in terms of differing in hypervisor, VM types, the APIs, okay, there's a lot of these things that you need to consider, okay? And also talk about skill sets, right? Have you built the right skill sets for hybrid cloud, in-house or you're going to outsource? It's a journey, right? When you want to talk about going to cloud, first thing you probably will try out is let's try get a few machines together, load in some virtualization software, and then let's try to learn, you know, like VMware run a vCenter, try out the application, right? And after that, once you're familiar, then you start thinking about how you can expand out from there. But really, skill set is something that you have to think through. Short term, are you going to leverage on outsourced team? And long term, are you going to build your internal capabilities, right? And on an ongoing basis, obviously, hybrid cloud, once implemented, is more complex that you will probably need to have a stable support team, right? Whether it's outsourced or internal to support them. Okay, the other one is performance, okay? If you look at the application architecture, to be able to burst your transactions, you know, from a private cloud to a public cloud, you probably need to do quite a fair bit of the application architecture design, okay? What I understand is, typically, this is how industry people are doing it. They will put a web app tier in the public cloud, and the private cloud allow them to burst. And then the database tier typically keep under the private cloud because they want to control the data, you know, confidentiality, okay? And it will come to a problem if, let's say, application performance, you need to move large amount of data between your apps and the database tier. So there are also companies who actually look at like, okay, I don't have my own data center. I go to a provider, a hosting company like maybe Singapore, largest hosting company could be Singtel, Equinix, and Global Switch. These are the three, right? Now, this company may also provide you a cloud. So cloud infrastructure and hosting infrastructure, if they are on the same data center, you have a local superhighway, and that will help you to solve some of the performance issues like this. So the selections of the cloud service provider, ensuring your application performance, okay, is also another key option that you need to consider. Okay? And the last one is more on migration. You can have a wonderful infrastructure, everything, right? I have a physical, now I want to move it to cloud, P2V, B2V, how you do it. All right, so if you selected Amazon and your internal private cloud is a VMware, I want to move the VM, I want to move the OS over. How do you do that, right? From a Hyper-V, VMDK, into a Amazon Zen-based Hyper-V is different, all right? You cannot do it, you cannot take it from the server image level. You probably have to do a higher level like using some tools, some OS level migration tools to help you to do the P2V or B2V migration, okay? So the real barriers, if you really look at all the issue above, right? The implication, the security aspect of consideration, the skill sets, the compliance, the approval that you need to apply, is whether the enterprise is willing to make changes, right? The people, I think the people aspect is in fact most critical, right? I'm not sure how many of you here today, you know, you are still on a traditional DC. If you are, all right, chances is you are, you know, not following the industry trend. But if you are already moving into the virtualization, then the next question is, virtualize on the public cloud or private cloud? If you are in public, all right, or sorry, if you are in private, and when are you going to continue to move on, you know, to use the public cloud? Because they help you to save costs, okay? But to be able to move there, you need to worry about all these implications and security issues that you need to clear. So those are the key challenges in moving into this hybrid cloud environment. And the other aspect of it is the network, because when you want to develop or design architecture for hybrid cloud, your network architecture need to make quite a fair bit of changes to allow the bursting, to allow the routing, to make sure that, it is actually able to take on the performance workloads. So this is actually another aspect of determination whether, the organization is ready or willing to take on all these challenges to move into hybrid cloud. So I only list out some of the high-level solutions of what you need to do if you are really interested or determined to move into hybrid cloud. The first one is choose the right IT system to pilot. Okay, I think internally within most of the organization, they have many different IT systems. Selecting the right system to do the pilot will help you to enhance, right? Get to know how this virtualization hybrid cloud works, allow you to have that, clear the learning curve, and allow you to prepare, for the more critical system at the back end, right? Now select the right cloud service provider or partners. This is the one I just mentioned, right? Selecting the right partner that maybe can do hosting and cloud together. And that will help you because then you know that, any interoperability between your cloud virtualization and your physical server in colo, they are all okay. And do a hybrid cloud aligned IT architecture design, all right? Now, this presentation I don't cover a little bit, I don't cover a lot in terms of architecture design or hybrid cloud. Reason is because this is depending on the application, depending on the company. Very difficult to tell you one standard, right? So typically for this kind of IT aligned, hybrid cloud aligned IT architecture design, we actually have to do it based on the kind of consultancy services, right? Getting the right chief architect to help you to do the design and look at your requirement, what you want to achieve in terms of performance, in terms of cost, in terms of the application nature, right? And then obtaining internal security approval is also important part of your solution because after you have done all these selections of cloud, do the right IT alignment, everything, without the approval of security, nothing can move. All right? And of course, the last part is doing all this, all your effort, how do you measure? You need to set up some kind of KPI, right? Because public cloud help you to save costs, agility, right? Very fast. 3 minutes, 5 minutes, you get a cloud. You need to set up some KPI to measure, right? In terms of cost saving, in terms of agility to the market, for your application. Just to give you some example, like traditional data center today, when you buy a server, it probably is 4 to 6 weeks to deliver. Set up everything, 3 months. You can then give the server service to your application team. If you look at a cloud like Amazon, within a few minutes you can get this thing settled. It's very, very fast. But it comes with a lot of all these, the front concerns. Okay? For those of you who are located in Singapore, you can take a look at some of the solutions from StarHub because data is localized in Singapore. If your company security policy is to localize the data in Singapore itself, and you are a Singapore firm, you can actually take a look at that service itself. Come to our booth, we will show you, some of these solutions. So then the next question is year 2015 the year of hybrid cloud, right? I think answer is quite clear if you really look at some of the news, right? We know Microsoft is working on this hybrid cloud solution. Microsoft is telling us very simple, right? You use my product, whether it's your private cloud product using Microsoft or using my Azure, right? The product is the same. So for you to be able to burst, architecture-wise, very simple because it's a single product. We also see some of the announcements from EMC. They are basically doing the VMware integrated hybrid cloud solution. We also know HP is offering some of the hybrid cloud technology, and also IBM through SoftLayer, they are offering that. Now, today in the market, the biggest biggest vendor promoting this hybrid cloud with the very comprehensive API is RightScale. I don't know how many of you heard about this company, RightScale, and also ReadySpace. These are the one that promoting cloud a lot. There's quite a lot of this white paper and also some of the analysis research reports. You just do a search, you should be able to retrieve some of them, and that helps you to enhance in terms of your understanding of who are the right players that you can actually choose from. Okay? Of course, since I'm from Huawei, I would like to tell you that we also have some kind of hybrid cloud solution. All right, today we built something called a virtual private cloud into our Argona cloud solution in StarHub. So StarHub Cloud is called Argona, all right? A-R-G-O-N-A-R, Argona, right? So take a look at that solution also, because virtual private cloud allows you to create really a private compartment within the public cloud, and you can actually design your own network, your subnet, whether it's an internet-facing network or internet network. And you can do a VPN tunnel all the ways to this to allow your enterprise to extend your cloud into the public cloud, but it's still seen as a private cloud solution. All right, so this is another justification to tell you whether it's true on 2015 is the year of hybrid cloud. Look at the Gartner, right? Last year and this year they have selected hybrid cloud to be the top 10 technology trend. Okay, and then some of the big names like AWS, Microsoft, VMware, IBM, HP, all launching hybrid cloud solution now. So you can expect, if you are a developer, you can expect that, take a look at some of these vendors' website. They will probably give you some idea how easy now for you to be able to implement a hybrid cloud, all right? And of course, we also look at some of the survey like Teck Target, right? Last year's survey, 63% respondents expect cost savings from hybrid cloud. Okay? Now I'm going to give you a bit of the use cases here. So when you talk about moving to hybrid cloud, how to go about doing it, right? Typically, there are a few ways. One is like you have a mission critical and non-mission critical system. So this is just I mentioned about IT system selection. Move the non-critical system to public cloud. Of course, this has to take into consideration the data sensitivity, right? And the other aspect is move your development and test environment to public cloud and keeping your private cloud production internal. So this one address some of the security concern again. Now, there are also another model here like DR as a service, right? So company can have a private cloud, have all the server, whether physical or virtual, still internal, and then they build the DR of the equivalence in the public cloud and keep it there. So in case my main data center is down, I can quickly switch over to the public cloud for my application services. Okay, so this one all talk about RTO, RPO. It depends on what is the requirement, and then also typically it's not a standard setup. It has to be something that is custom designed. Okay, so for Huawei, we actually work with StarHub and we talk to the customer about some of these solutions, right? To ensure that if their data center internally really go down, they can actually still utilize the telco's data center to continue to run the business. Okay, and the last one is something that I think all of us are familiar with, cloud bursting, right? So you have a normal load, and then when you have some seasonal load come in, you can actually burst into the cloud, into the public cloud, sorry. So the next slide is actually a little bit about Huawei's cloud solution. So we do the consultancy, right, for company who want to move into cloud but don't know how to do it. So this is basically more like business consultancy. Do the go-to-market, do the market analysis, cloud service design, and then of course the business planning, right? And then we also provide a whole list of the IT equipment. I think most of you may not know that Huawei do provide a lot of server storage, network security boxes. You know about HP, you know about Dell, you know about IBM servers. You know about EMC, you know about Hitachi boxes. You never know about Huawei has got all this storage. We today already have the full range. Okay, so on top of the infrastructure, we actually have the cloud operating system called the Fusion Sphere. That helps me to integrate all the local hardware. And then we also had a DCIM management platform to allow us to deliver the IaaS and SaaS marketplace solution. Okay, and for customers who don't know how to manage the entire infrastructure after you have implemented, we also provide ongoing professional services. So things like support, cloud operation and maintenance services. Do the break fix, do the support, do the integration of that. Okay? So with this cloud that you offer, you are able to create a self-service portal that provides the cloud servers, cloud backup, cloud storage, virtual private cloud, SaaS marketplace, all that. So that is a very high level of Huawei solutions, what we can do for you. So where do you see this solution? You just type aguna.starhub.com. aguna.starhub.com. That is actually a live site. It is there. Okay? So in summary, I think we know there's a lot of pros on the private cloud and the public cloud. And we also know there are certain limitations on public and private cloud. And by implementing the hybrid cloud solution, we are able to achieve IT cost reduction, help us to achieve the cloud bursting, provide us options for us to implement disaster recovery, and allow our data portability. So these are the key results of why you're working so hard, getting all these things done. Right? Because all these are the results of what you're going to get, right? So in conclusion, Gartner is saying that nearly 3/4 of large enterprise expects to have hybrid cloud by 2015, right? That is actually a big number, right? And 2015 will be the year of hybrid cloud. And the journey for hybrid cloud, it may be challenging, but there will be a lot of advantages if you really look at it. It gives you the cost saving, give you the flexibility, the agilities for you to be able to scale. All right? And you have to ask yourself whether you're willing to change. The changes means when you go to the journey, it can also mean that, there's quite a fair bit of work that you need to do, okay? And quite a fair bit of investment costs, maybe, all right, in the short term, right? And hybrid cloud technologies, for the big brands like, just I mentioned IBM, all this, they are really investing and it will help you. Because the company has been seeing all these hybrid cloud solution, hybrid cloud trend coming. That's why all these vendors, all these big brands, they are building the hybrid cloud technology to help you in that particular wave. All right? So with that, I end my presentation. Right? I hope this gives you some information. If you need to, any questions first? Yes?
Yeah, hi. Thanks for the presentation. My question was more around, if you go for hybrid cloud, how do you monitor them? Because there are a lot of challenges in monitoring application as well as the infrastructure. Just for an example, if I take CRM application, if it is there on the private as well as on the public cloud, then how do I monitor it as a unified monitoring tool?
So for cloud monitoring, typically we look at today, there's another very big topic in the industry, talk about DCIM, right? Data Center Infrastructure Management. Okay, so you monitor at the OS level, you can monitor at the application middleware level. Now when you move into the hybrid cloud, I believe yes, there's a complexity in terms of the design. What we need is to sit down, understand what is your requirement, what do you want to monitor. If you're talking about end-to-end application, end-to-end application response per second, then you have to build out certain scenarios. Get the right tools implemented, and then take a benchmark in terms of, if I'm running totally on private cloud, what kind of response do I expect? And if I actually burst out to the public cloud, what kind of response now that with this change, it is going to achieve, right? So there's a lot of this, I think probably benchmark is actually the best way for you to look at, what kind of performance of your application. And that is actually the ultimate plan. But a lot of people, because of cost, they may actually look at just monitoring enough. That means the infrastructure level. And a large focus of the monitoring is not so much today, the way I look at it, like when we engage in startup customer study, they are more concerned is not so much on the application. It's more like your infrastructure must be all ready. The monitoring is more on the infrastructure to keep the cost low. Okay? I don't know whether I answer your question, but that is what I can share. All right? Any other questions? Yes. Yes.
Can you elaborate further? What can we go beyond the traditional KPI that we set with the IT?
Okay, measurable KPI, you can look at it from many aspects, right? One is operational aspect. How fast can I provision out the infrastructure request that your next customer want? So that could be one KPI, say the agility, how fast can you move out? So whether you can provide a VM, a storage, a load balancer within like 3 minutes to 5 minutes. Is that a KPI that you want? I cite one example. We have a customer, I don't know anybody here for NTUC income? No? It's our customer. So we talked to the CIO. CIO highlighted that, that cloud implementation actually helped them to improve a lot in terms of agility to move on, to quickly provide the needed infrastructure for the application team. So agility is definitely one of the efficiency that they have seen as a real-life example, all right? And other KPI, what you can actually look at is cost savings, right? From the business plan itself, when you move into hybrid cloud, from your traditional physical server, how many racks, how much power you consume in the data center. When you move into cloud, with one thing, all these monthly charges, how much you compare the saving between the two. So cost saving is one aspect of KPI. Agility is another aspect, turnaround time for your cloud resources is another aspect, how we can measure them. All right, then of course the other part is security, right? How fast can you catch all the problems, right, when it happens? Like I highlighted to you just now, the solver, DDoS attack, today we are able to achieve like 5 minutes. Okay, so that is actually something that you can measure. And of course, when you talk to the customer every year, they want to improve on that. You can achieve 5 minutes. Next year, I want you to improve to 4 minutes, to 3 minutes, So these are the measurements, okay? Any other question, last question? Okay, if not, then I see you at my Huawei booth. We have in both basement and also first floor, right? Take a look at our P7, right? It's actually one of the hot focus for this year's Community Asia. Thank you very much. Thank you.